somehow. So, we're back up.
Yes.
Where was I at? So,
Taking guys
okay, so I'm taking these guys. I'm taking Charles Lee, and Rob to meetings, right? And every night, I'm listening to their stories, and they're going on about this ain't right, and this guy did this, and treatment, this guy did that, and I need this, and I need that. And all of a sudden, one night, I dropped them off, and I'm driving back to my house, and I'm thinking to myself, here it's been 3 months. I've been taking these guys to meetings, and I had this epiphany. It's like, I haven't been worrying about me. I stopped worrying about myself and my life and my troubles. I got invested in these other guys, and all of a sudden, I got this peace that I had been looking for, which was some way to get away from that horrible, I call it K-fuck radio, that restless, irritable, discontented stuff, that worry, that fear, that angst, all that stuff. This was an answer. So when it says that, it says, more and more we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, we became conscious of His presence. We began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, and the hereafter. We were reborn. We were now at step 3. Many of us said to our Maker as we understood Him, God, I offer myself to Thee, to build with me and do with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do Thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of Thy power, Thy love, Thy way of life. May I do Thy will always. We thought well before taking this step, making sure that we were ready, that we could at last abandon ourselves utterly to Him. We found it very desirable to take this spiritual step with an understanding person, such as our wife, best friend, or spiritual advisor. But it is better to meet God alone than with one who might misunderstand. The wording was, of course, quite optional, so long as we expressed the idea of voicing it without reservation. This was only a beginning, though if honestly and humbly made, in effect, sometimes a great one, was felt at once. So it's the first place in the book that I notice or can recollect the book saying anything about some type of change having occurred in our recovery. Okay? So, but it quantifies it and qualifies it. It says, sometimes, it says, though only a beginning, though if honestly and humbly made, in effect, sometimes a very great one was felt at once. I didn't have that experience. I took this step with my sponsor. We had gone through the book up to that point in time. He told me to read a chapter. He said, read this chapter, and then we'll talk about it. Read the doctor's opinion, and we'll talk about it. And that's what we did. Read Bill's story, and we'll talk about it. And that's what we did. Read There Is a Solution. I read that chapter. He said, let's talk about that. So that's how we got to the third step. And when I got to the third step, we found a little chapel inside the church that the meeting was held in. And we walked into that chapel, and he said, the prayer is written in this book. He said, you don't need to perfect it. If you have something else that you want to add to the end of the prayer, that's fine. But he said, I am your witness, and that's all I am. And I'm going to be your witness before God in saying this prayer, in making this decision. And we got on our knees. I read the prayer out of the book as it is. I think I probably added a couple of words, and I said amen, and that was the third step. And I didn't walk up out of there a free man or a new man or Anything else, I just followed the direction of what I was told to do. So I guess some people probably could have a profound experience with it, and I'm not really familiar with a lot of those stories, but I'm sure that they're there. But that's the third step. It's the first action that I took in the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Next, it says, not tomorrow, not when I get around to it, not if you get time. Next, we launched out on a course of vigorous action, the first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted. We're going to stop there because I want to give some time to the fourth step, and we won't have time to do that tonight. And so, any comments, questions, thoughts? No? All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you everybody online, and we'll see you next week.